Emily had always been a risk-taker. She loved the adrenaline rush of doing something that could go wrong at any moment. That's why when she heard about an old abandoned house on the outskirts of town that was rumored to be haunted, she couldn't resist the urge to explore it. She convinced her best friend, Sarah, to come along with her, despite Sarah's reservations. As they approached the house, Emily could feel her heart racing. The house looked even more ominous than she had imagined. The windows were boarded up, and the front door was barely hanging on its hinges. They cautiously stepped inside, and the first thing they noticed was how dark it was. The only light was coming from a small window that was covered in cobwebs. As their eyes adjusted to the darkness, they could make out a few pieces of furniture that were covered in dust. Emily was determined to explore every inch of the house, but Sarah was starting to get nervous. Suddenly, they heard a noise coming from upstairs. It sounded like someone was moving around. Emily's heart skipped a beat. She motioned for Sarah to be quiet and started making her way up the stairs. As they climbed the stairs, the noise got louder. Emily was sure that they were about to come face to face with whoever was making the noise. When they reached the top of the stairs, they found themselves in a hallway with several doors leading off it. Emily chose a door at random and slowly pushed it open. The room was dark, but she could make out a figure sitting in a chair. As her eyes adjusted to the darkness, she realized that it was a man. He was wearing a mask and holding a knife. Emily froze. She didn't know what to do. The man started to stand up, and Emily turned and ran back down the hallway, grabbing Sarah's hand as she went. They ran down the stairs and out of the house as fast as they could. Once they were outside, Emily turned to Sarah and said, "That was close. We need to call the police." But before they could do anything, they heard a noise coming from inside the house. It was a phone ringing. Emily hesitated for a moment, but her curiosity got the best of her. She went back inside the house and followed the sound of the ringing phone. It led her to a room at the back of the house. As she entered the room, she saw a phone sitting on a table. She picked it up, and a voice on the other end said, "Hello, Emily. I've been waiting for you." Emily's blood ran cold. How did this person know her name? She looked around the room, but she couldn't see anyone. Suddenly, she heard a noise behind her. She turned around and saw the man in the mask standing in the doorway. Emily started to run, but the man was too quick. He tackled her to the ground and held the knife to her throat. "You shouldn't have come here," he said. "Now you're going to pay for your curiosity." Emily closed her eyes, waiting for the worst. But then, she heard a gunshot. The man fell to the ground, and Emily looked up to see a police officer standing in the doorway. It turned out that the abandoned house was being used as a hideout by a group of criminals, and the man in the mask was one of them. The police had been investigating them for months, and they had finally caught them. Emily and Sarah were safe, but they couldn't believe what had just happened. They had come so close to being killed, and they realized that their love for danger had almost cost them their lives. From that day forward, they vowed to stay away from anything that could put them in danger and to appreciate the value of their lives. The experience had shaken them to the core, but they were grateful to be alive and to have each other by their side.